wanted to finance the mineral sector, even if you wanted to finance the oil and gas sector. How I wish that at a strategic level, Cabinet upgrades UDB. Capitalization cannot be by just how much profitability they are making. If we are going to have the industrialization we talk about in the industrial policy, then I think government must, like we are seeing trillions being pumped elsewhere, the private sector needs to be helped, because that's the only way we can build a credible private sector, which we have been lacking. I also, Honorable Speaker, I would like to plead with our colleagues in Parliament, and more so Cabinet. We expect, as we go for the budget process, we need to be much, much more vigilant as Parliament, because Article 159 gives only this Parliament mandate to approve government commitment of a borrowing. But I think in the new culture of the public-private partnership projects, with challenges of contingent liabilities and sovereign guarantees, I think Parliament needs much more latitude and leverage in terms of scrutinizing the public-private partnerships. Also, there is this hybrid now of the oil and gas. That recoverable cost, Madam Speaker, it has been my contention over the years, it requires parliamentary approval. You can't be approving 10 million for a neonatal hospital as Parliament, but you're going to commit $15 billion without parliamentary approval. I think Parliament will have abdicated responsibility in terms of scrutiny. UDB something lacking in our industrialization agenda. I want to give a testimony that about 12 years ago, we did acquire 29 square miles of an industrial park in Hoima. It is nowhere in the agenda of financing. How I wish there was a loan today on this floor to finance the Hoima industrial park, because we have signed the ECOP. We found money last time for the airport. The runway is almost ready, but to see that big, vast industrial park full of vermins, baboons and what, is really not good. You remember Wopa went there 10 years ago, trying to see how women were being sifted very fast to create space for industrial park, which is non-existent. So I pray that government looks at, as we battle with the debt stock, close to $18 billion, can we find resources to go for the areas which are very lacking, so that we can say, are we putting money in oil and see it out in minerals, but not forgetting the value addition given the challenges. I would like to end by saying, Madam Speaker, just yesterday, we were talking about why not upgrade WEP to a women bank. We're asking why not have a cooperative bank. In some jurisdictions, even in Kenya, there are so many mortgage housing banks. I'm happy they are partnering with
I think this is the second time in 1 week that we have been told documents have been laid when actually physically they are not there. Unfortunately, this time it involves our own committee. Right, Honorable Speaker, I was specifically interested in the audited report so that I can understand how this money is being used and the opinion of the Auditor General on the performance generally of this bank we are loading too much money into. Unfortunately, Right Honorable Speaker, although audited report is among the documents listed as late, I've come through the file, I've not seen any. I've even consulted with the chair who laid the documents, which purportedly includes the audited report, and I can now confirm to you that the document which has been laid by the chairman of the committee does not contain the audited report, which our Hansard has already captured as having been laid. So I'm seeking procedural guidance on two things. One, the audited report as laid be expanded because it's not here. And two, I would think that Chair, you should Speaker, you could probably come up with specific guidance as to how we can now present documents which we can refer to after our debate, because some of the way things are going, it looks as if we are told documents have been laid when actually the documents are not there. And I think this is not a nice way of handling business in Parliament. Right, Honorable Speaker, therefore I need guidance. I'm handing back the file to the clerk.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable. And Right Honorable, I would like to thank my sister, Honorable Cecilia Ogwara team, for being so, for pointing out an omission. Right Honorable Speaker, I saw the soft copy of the report, and I instructed the clerk to make request to be permitted to expunge the audited reports among the documents laid on the table. I thank you.
Honourable members, in the
You have
absence
it in soft
of
copy.
the audited report, the clerk is hereby directed to expunge reference to the audited report because it is not there. Senyonga.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you for especially allowing Honorable Cecilia to present and even scrutinize the file. Madam Speaker, this is a representation of Ugandans, and where our own comes and says something is laid. Madam Speaker, and even you echoed that, is it, have you laid the on the table? Says everything is on the file. Madam Speaker, when something comes up, we need to have stringent measures to restrain these chairpersons who are presenting serious documents to this House, to Ugandans, at least to avoid such omissions unnecessarily. Because, Madam Speaker, it seems it has now become a culture of passing alone. We come here to just rubber stamp or to pass a loan that is tangible and meaningful for Ugandans. I think those issues that are required should be scrutinized before you come here and request the Speaker to put you on order paper. At least one should be ready to present those documents that are necessary to highlight major issues that can guide the Parliament to pass something meaningful for the country. I salute you, Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I request Parliament to accept our apology, but right now
the motion of borrowing, Right Honorable Speaker, I have a serious concern in the report, which should be seriously noted for the members, even the coming members, to continue following. Right Honorable Speaker, early on we talked about UDB. And here they have emphasized small-scale industries and small-scale entrepreneurships. Right Honorable Speaker, that's where the emphasis, to me, I want to put, so that the minister can make sure that this time it is not only the big giants benefiting, but because it is clearly indicated that at least 20% of the loan will go to small-scale industries. Otherwise, many of our people look at these loans as if they are here to help a few instead of helping the majority who are really helping this country with solving of unemployment to many of our people. But otherwise, I support the loan.
I think the minister has noted the concern of the citizens about access, about the SMEs. They should be now featured prominently in your proposals. And I put the question, that the question be put. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Please have it. And I put the question that this House do approve the proposal by to authorize government to borrow Kuwait dinars 6 million from the Kuwait Fund for Arab Economic Development to support the program of operations for the years 2020-2024, the Uganda Development Bank. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it.
Item number 8 on the order paper, motion for a resolution of Parliament to authorize government to borrow special drawing rights, 57 million equivalent to US dollars 78.2 million from the International Development Association of the World Bank Group to finance the Uganda Investing in Forests and Protected Areas for Climate Smart Development Project.
Minister, can you move the motion?
Madam Speaker, I beg to move a motion by government to borrow special drawings rights, 57 million, which is equivalent to 78.2 million US dollars from the International Development Association of the World Bank to finance Uganda investing in forests and protected areas for climate smart development project. I beg to move.
Members, is it seconded? Seconded.
Identified 18 programs that have been designed to deliver the required results under this plan. Among them is the climate change, natural resources, environment, and water management. And another one is agro-industrialization and tourism. This particular project is designed to promote, to implement the first program of climate change, natural resources, environment, and water management. We have been talking about this issue of climate change for some time now, and one of the areas that we think that we should have an impact is actually in afforestation, an objective that this House has been progressively and aggressively pursuing, and I want to commend this request to members of this House for consideration and approval to protect our environment. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I invite the chair of the committee?
$2 million from the IDA of the World Bank to finance the Uganda investing in forests and protected areas for climate smart development project. Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to thank my colleagues whom we worked with on scrutinizing this loan. This loan was presented to this House on the 11th of this year, and it was referred to our committee for consideration. Right Honorable Speaker, we held meetings with Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and with the Minister of Water and Environment. We also made field visits. We went to the lower Alpine region, Kamwenge, Kasesa, and Rubirizi, and we also went to the upper Alpine region, Hoima, Chikube, Masindi, and the upper Nile region, Arua, Moyo, have an important role to play in the struggle to reduce poverty. Initiatives based on sustainable local forest management as part of our rural development and sustainable livelihood strategies can support good governance and increase benefits to the poor. Trees have many agricultural uses such as food, fuel, fodder, fertilizer, shade, windbreaks, fencing, packaging, water regulation, and soil erosion prevention, to mention a few. Right Honorable Speaker, Uganda's economy remains heavily reliant on renewable natural resources. A heavy reliance on rain-fed and subsistence agriculture continues to expose the economy to risks from adverse weather, and these risks are likely to grow under most scenarios for future climate change. Uganda is vulnerable to climate change, and its impacts are already being experienced. You all remember the hostile weather we had in January up to almost February. That's a result of the destruction of our natural forests. Uganda has experienced a severe reduction in forest cover, as well as wetland degradation and encroachment. The forest cover in Uganda has reduced from 20% in 1986-87 to 9.5% in 17-18. The implication of that is that there are increased vulnerabilities and disparities in incomes, as well as loss of livelihood to the population and reduction in GDP growth. On the other hand, forests and wildlife are particularly important for tourism. And we all know that before the advent of COVID, tourism was one of our main sources for foreign exchange. Given the increased the increased interest in pastoral forest management in Uganda. This proposed project will complement Uganda's National Wetland Program that seeks to restore and support sustainable management of Uganda's wetlands, complement NDP3 efforts that target to increase Uganda's forest cover from the current situation of 9.5% to 15% by 2024-25, and address wood fuel-based energy security for both communities and refugee settlements, and growing environmental degradation, and make substantial contribution to addressing the country's priorities in climate change, which aim to increase the level of ambition and commitments to both adaptation and resilience. The project linkage to the country strategy, NDP3 has identified 18 programs that have been designed to deliver the requisite results under this plan. And among this program is climate change, natural resources, environment, and water management. And number 2 is the agro-industrialization program, and this aims to increase commercialization and competitiveness of agriculture production and agro-processing. And on number 3, it aims at supporting tourism and development program. This aims to increase Uganda's attractiveness as a preferred tourist destination. The Uganda investing in forests and protected areas for climate smart development project is in line with the other programs, and if well implemented, will directly support the following 4 objectives under NDP. One is increasing agricultural production and productivity, reducing climate change vulnerability, reducing human and economic loss from natural hazards and disasters, and 4, increasing incomes and employment through sustainable use and value addition to water, forests, and natural resources. Therefore, the Uganda investing in forests and protected areas for climate smart development project is in line with the Uganda Vision 2040 and the 3rd National Development Plan 2021-2024-25, and is consistent with the goal of this plan to increase household incomes and improve quality of life of Ugandans. The project is also aligned to other planning frameworks, among which is the Uganda National Climate Change Policy 2015, National Agriculture Policy of 2010, and Uganda National Forestry Policy of 2001. The project is aligned to the alignment of the project with Sustainable Development Goals. It is aligned to goal number 1, 13, and 15. Right Honorable Speaker, on the performance of loans in the water and environmental sector, these are covered under table 6. There are 12 loans, but due to certain reasons, some of them have been slow in utilization. The current road disbursement is attributed to the continued slow pace by government in fulfillment of loan effectiveness conditions, cost land compensation claims, and inadequate project preparedness for those projects. The majority of these projects were approved by Parliament 2 years ago. And on the project objectives, impact, outcomes, and outputs, these are covered under paragraph 7. The overall goal of the project is to improve sustainable management of forests and protected areas and increase benefits to communities from forests in target landscapes. Right Honorable Speaker, Table 2 gives the project development objective indicators. Paragraph 7.1 is the project geographical focus is on selected priority areas in western and northwest Uganda. The project targets landscapes include Albertine Rift, the refugee hosting districts of West Nile region, and the Lamu district. The project will support activities in 17 districts which are listed under Table 3. Right beneficiaries. The government of Uganda agencies in natural resource sector and their staff, mainly the Uganda Wildlife Authority and National Forest Authority, as well as the district's natural resource office staff in the target districts, will benefit from improved capacity for service delivery. The project components, Right Honorable Speaker, are covered under Table 4. The first component, which will take $47 million from the IDA, will cover improved management of protected areas. And component number two, which will consume $40 million. The component will increase revenue and jobs from these forests and wildlife protected areas through targeted investments in tourism and productive forests, and will include productive forests. Component number 4, this one will take $5 million. This will be for project management and monitoring. Right Honorable Speaker, the projected cost and financing arrangements are covered under Table 4, where the IDA loan will cover 43%, 43.88%. The grant will cover 6.73%, and the IDA grant for refugee sub-window will cover 32.55%, and Government of Uganda will contribute 16.83%. On the loan terms, are provided under Table 6. Table 6, and Right Honorable Speaker, this loan is highly concessional with a maturity period of 38 years, and with a grace period of 6 years, and with interest rate service charge of 0.7% on amount. The project steering committee, and the recipient has established the project coordination unit with composition, terms of reference, and resources satisfactory to the lender. Right Honorable Speaker, on budgetary implication, Government of Uganda will be required to provide counterpart funding to the tune of $30 million. And the Minister of Finance has assured us that they are committed to avail the required counterpart funding under the respective votes of the project implementing agencies. That is Minister of Water and Minister of Tourism. Right Honorable Speaker, on the economic benefits and return of the project, it is estimated, the estimated net net income project return over a 25-year period using a 5% discount is about $2 billion with a benefit cost ratio of 7. When excluding social value of carbon emissions, the project yields an economic net present value of $528 million and has a benefit cost of 2.6. The economic return is 40%. Right Honorable Speaker, this project is going to create gainful employment for over 22,000 people, green jobs. It's going to enhance ecosystem services. There will be improved management of 1,157,073 hectares of Central Forest Reserves, national parks and wild reserves through improved forest protection and enforcement management. On the implementation, this project is envisaged to be implemented within 6 years, starting with the effective date, and it's going to be implemented by National Forest Authority, the Minister of Water and Environment, and Uganda Wildlife Association. The GDP today, the debt to GDP ratio now stands at 49.9%. We are about to hit the threshold, but the Minister of Finance still assures that despite the increase in sovereign debt and the increased risks and vulnerabilities in the next few years, the debt is still manageable. On compliance with parliamentary approvals, the minister got a score of 64%, which is well above average. Right Honorable Speaker, on observations and recommendations, low absorption of funds. The committee noted that absorption of funds for debt finance projects in the water and environmental sector was very low. The committee noted that government has been slow in fulfilling of loan effective conditions upon signing of loan agreements in order to trigger the disbursements of committed funds for the implementation of debt finance projects. In addition, the majority of the IDB debt-funded projects have frequently registered delayed startups and implementation, and in some cases, they have even cancelled them. And the main reason for the delays are the following: lack of detailed engineering designs, inadequate consultation and agreements with stakeholders, weak presence of implementing institutions in local levels, and lack of understanding with the donors. The committee recommends that government ensures the speedy fulfillment of effective conditions of the financing agreements for these loans in order for the committed funds to be released by the bank in time. On the technical design and projects, the committee noted that while individual components of the projects are well tested in Uganda and elsewhere, bringing these together in a landscape approach is inherently complex. The committee recommends that the project steering committee ensures the responsibility of individuals implementing agencies of these projects are clearly defined in the project documentation. In addition to the project design, it should ensure that implementation responsibilities are fully aligned with the mandate of the project implementing agencies. Right Honorable Speaker, on the provision of taxes in the total project, steering committee ensures the technical service providers that will be engaged by the Ministry of Water and Environment to manage Component 3 implementation, while engaging closely with district local governments, deliberately build up their technical capacity for project implementation. Sector strategies and policies, the committee recommends that the project steering committee engages in active policy dialogue at a high level and embed the project's interventions within the broader reduced emissions from deforestation and forest degradation strategy of the country. In conclusion, Right Honourable Speaker, and subject to the recommendations herein, the committee recommends approval of the proposal by government to borrow special drawing rights 57 million, equivalent to US $78.2 million from the International Development Association of the World Bank to finance the Uganda investing in forests and protected areas for climate smart development project. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair of the National Economy.
Right Honourable Speaker, I have a list of, I have a number of documents here which I would like to lay on table. The report of the committee, which I've just presented, minutes of the meetings, brief on to Parliament by the Minister of Finance, a letter from the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to the Head of Public Service seeking clearance, a letter from the Prime Minister to the Head of Cabinet Service on the loan request, the clearance by the National Planning Authority, a letter from the Minister of Water to the Minister of Finance on the subject matter, the Minister of Finance letter to His Excellency the President, and His Excellency the President's letter clearing the borrowing, the Cabinet memorandum which was submitted on the loan request, the agreed means of negotiation between the Republic of Uganda and IDA, the World Bank project appraisal document, the draft amortization of the loan repayment schedule, the Uganda investing in forest and protected areas for climate smart development, environmental and social commitment plan, the environment and social commitment plan, Uganda investing in forests and protected areas for climate smart development, the regulatory impact assessment report for the project, the cabinet decision taken during the cabinet of 21st February, the project implementation manual, the project appraisal manual, manual for investing in the project. Right Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair. Yes, Honourable Ngeto, Ogwal, Asamo, Abada Babiku, Kaveruka, and finally Mukitari. 3 minutes each.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, I don't know whether to say I support this or not, but okay, let me say I'm not supporting it. For this reason, Madam Speaker, I would have loved that we are borrowing a loan to build on what we are doing well. But Madam Speaker, I want to give just 4 situations to show that in terms of environment management, we
things like that, knowing that there is this one situation where they have arrested, but there are very many others that have come through and already being sold here in Kampala. The second situation, Madam Speaker, we remember at some point my colleague, Honorable Nantaba, was fighting with people who are replacing trees with sugarcane. And now we are eventually going to be experts in protecting our trees. Number three, Madam Speaker, we know all over, we are seeing situations where trucks and trucks of Maram is being ferried to fill wetlands for people to make various kinds of constructions, whether their own houses or factories, and we are seeing that. And then, Madam Speaker, we know for sure that at some point government had this policy where they would parcel some land within government forest reserves for people to plant trees. But we even know that that was seriously mismanaged. And in some situations, people didn't even plant trees and they were doing other things. So, Madam Speaker, for these four situations which I've given as an example, I want to say I am not in for this loan. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Gwal.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm becoming very suspicious about advisors of the cabinet. It looks as if the target is to find justification for a loan and is quickly brought to Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, the committee has been very smart in trying to highlight the importance of improving the environment, the importance of improving on the forestry cover and also the wetlands. See, they have done it very, very well. But Right Honorable Speaker, when you talk about forestry cover or wetland, the challenges we have is across the country. It is across the country, and you recall, Right Honorable Speaker, when you hosted CPC in Uganda, one of the activities that was really appreciated by the delegates was exposing them to areas of our natural resources, like the rich rivers, freshwater rivers we have. I remember we took them to Jinja, planting of trees in order to improve the forestry cover, and climbing some hills in Uganda. So they appreciated. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, the problem of forestry cover is a national thing, and you declared, after the conference, you declared that Uganda will be, Ugandan Parliament will be at the forefront in driving afforestation in Uganda. And I remember we discussed this matter. We even requested that in the budget to follow, we should have included a national-wide afforestation exercise led by respective MPs in their areas. I remember this was agreed upon, and I offered, as the person who spearheaded the tree planting exercise during CPC, that we would start from Dokolo. And you all know that we have the traditional forestry in Agwata, historical. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, today, I'm so amused that, because the good thing is I'm not a tribalist, because I come from almost all over. Now, when you look at page 11, the justification for the choice of beneficiaries has not been given. I have seen here our home in Bunyoro. There is Hoima, there is Kiradongo, and that's what I can see. But I can also be associated with Kamwenge and Kibale. But then we have West Nile, Ajumani, Arua, Koboko, Yumbe, which is still part of my home. And then you come nearer to my mother's home or my father's home, we have Amoro and Lamour. Now, what about the rest of the country? Talk about the east, talk about the west, talk about the center, talk about Karamoja, which is actually severely suffering from drought. And we are talking about reforestation. That encourages pollution in this country. Right, Honorable Speaker, this parliament some years back passed a law which was adopted by all East African countries to ban kavera or polypropylene materials. Right, Honorable Speaker, I've seen it being implemented in almost all the East African countries. Uganda has failed to do it. Why? Because this economy seems to be driven by mafias. So if the mafia has got an industry producing polypropylene products, you cannot touch them because they call themselves untouchable. We have asked who are these mafias. I would be willing to go and sit down with them and we negotiate, because really it's too much. These mafias, I'm sure, are producing, they have children, they have grandchildren, whereas they are eating now, their grandchildren need to live a good life in the future. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to go the route of the colleague who spoke before me. This is a very good loan. We should have got it yesterday because we really need to focus on the environment. But until all these things are sorted out, until you make it a national agenda, until you get everybody all over Uganda sensitized and recognizing their responsibility, that we will only survive because we still have arable land, if we can plant trees. And you know, the scientists said trees are the lungs of the earth. So we plant trees, we will have effectively dealt with pollution. So, Right Honorable Speaker, can we have a nationally balanced and strategic plan on afforestation and wetland management in the country? Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit and to, I don't want to say I completely reject, but we stay on this loan until all these matters are sorted out. It's a good loan, but it must be sorted out. Let it be a national-driven activity, and the amount is big. And the amount is big. Now you are making me feel as if I'm a very greedy person. Most of the forestry will be done in my home area, in West Nile, in Acholi, and so on. What about the others? Don't you want Baganda to come and visit us? What about the people of Kagezi? What about the people of Karamoja, who are our neighbors? Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you. Honorable Basamo. Basamo, then Bala, Babiku, Kaveruka, then National Dialogue.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right, Honourable Speaker, the intention of the loan is very good on the issues of climate change. And one will be tempted to say would support it. But I think I have similar reasons because when I was looking at it, I saw it going to the refugee hosting districts. And I'm asking myself, in Uganda, the most bare area is eastern Uganda. And I want to say, not because I come from there, I represent a national constituency, Madam Speaker, and I've moved in this country. You will see eastern Uganda, we are already being threatened as a desert. Right from Karamoja, come to Teso, come up to Busoga. Even the Mabira is just on the road. It's no longer behind there. How I wish the loan could be restructured so that each region has something to benefit from this loan. Because the issue of climate change is affecting all of us, when you get the hot temperature in Eastern, you'll not really want even to stay in that community. Madam Speaker, the other issue is the sensitization of our people. Sometimes we put money to waste. The trees will be planted, but maintaining them will be a problem. And that will be the end of the story. You will find Ugandans taking their animals to graze in those grazing areas. Maybe the minister can assure us how they are going to protect these forests so that the people don't use it. And moreover, you are going to deal with the refugees who are not citizens of Uganda. They are likely to attack the forest and use it for their own personal benefit. The other thing, Madam Speaker, counter funding. We get loans, but the government side is very slow in putting in the counter funding. And yet the loan will start earning interest. I did not hear from the report whether this commitment has been put in place. I want to believe that the chairperson or the minister assures us that the counter funding is already in place or it is in the process in the next budget. Because we approve loans, then after 2 years you come back, government has not yet got the money. And I use this using the SAGE program where we are begging government to put counter funding. Up to today it is not there. So we might get the money and then counter funding will be missing out. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, this would be a good direction to start looking at climate change, but I think we need to have it covering all the other areas. Strategically, where is it worst? And the worst part really is from eastern Uganda. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Abala. Abala Babiku. Kaveruka. I've seen Babadiri at the back there. Then I see the team here. I've seen you. 3 minutes.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I have been, I've read the report, but the report is showing me a lot of issues. The first thing I want to say, Madam Speaker, this loan is a good one. But like my other colleagues have said, you cannot talk about the amount of money we are referring is over 70, 80 million dollars. That's the amount of money we are talking about. We are not talking about 10 million. It is over 70 something million dollars. Madam Speaker, I just want to say, you know, if we to look at the history, in 1990, 70% of Uganda's natural resource cover for the resources, natural forest cover was about 70% owned by individuals. But by 2017, it only reduced to a minimum of 30–80%. And the Ministry of Water and Environment was actually in existence in Uganda. At that time, they were watching. I don't know whether they're not taking punitive actions in addressing such problems. That's why you find that in the entire country, so many parts of Uganda is bare. For example, look at the eastern Uganda, where I come from. I come from Ora. The place is bare. As we talk now, the desert is actually visiting us any time now. The environment has been depleted, and it's dangerous to talk, but this loan here is not talk about such areas. That's why it is very, very serious, Madam Speaker. For me, like Mama Cecilia had said earlier on, that what we will do, this, we are not saying we are rejecting it, we shall only approve it on one condition: the entire country is covered. The entire country is covered altogether. Not saying we are selecting only some areas. Moreover, that is where most of the projects are. That's why for me, Madam Speaker, I want to say, for us to benefit as a country, for us as a people in East and Northeast, that is Karamoja, because that's a hot place in Uganda and some parts of the country. That's why, Madam Speaker, in my opinion, in terms of this loan, is a good loan. We are going to reap the benefit like employment. We are going to reap other benefits like GDP, whatever. We are going to reap all those benefits. But those benefits can only be seen properly if we are looking at Uganda as a country, not looking at the specific regions and sub-regions and leave others out. That element there, for me, David Abala, I may not support it. That's why, for me, I want to add to say that this project, this loan, moreover, we are going to pay. It is not a gift. It is not a grant. It is a loan. Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank Honorable Barra for giving me away. Honorable Barra, I want to tell you that we borrowed some money, sometime to plant forests. And for me, the information I want to give, first they would have come to say, the earlier loan we got, we planted this area, and now this one is going to come to plant this area. And Kakunguru came in eastern Uganda, he planted mvule trees without borrowing even a single shilling. How can a whole government like now go and borrow for purpose of trade? That's information I want to give you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That Kakungulu man planted trees in Ngora. And as we talk now, they are still there. They are still there. So that's why, Madam Speaker, I want to appeal to government that include all other regions, such as all of us are on the same page. So as we talk, we shall be moving together as a country. I want to thank you so much, but for now, let's stay without approving this loan unless other regions are included. I thank you so much.
Now, Ababiku, Kaweruka, Babadiri, Kibaria, Mitoma, and Makmot.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the committee for the report and the recommendations. I want also to thank the government for this request. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I come from a refugees hosting community. I have lived with the refugees for the whole of my life. Right Honorable Speaker, the destruction and reduction of the forest cover in our districts is so alarming. I visited Bidibidi. I was in Changwali 2 weeks ago. Right Honorable Speaker, things are so bad. When the refugees come to our country, they start life by using the forest products for establishment of their homesteads and for other things. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee and government for prioritizing the refugees hosting communities. Right Honorable Speaker, I've listened carefully to the requests made by my colleagues. I propose that the ministry also in its own mandate can prioritize, but we need affirmative action as refugees hosting districts. The situation is so horrible. It's so bare. I was there in Changwali 2 weeks ago. Therefore, I support the government request and also committee recommendations. Right Honorable Speaker, as refugees hosting communities, we also need more government intervention in the mainstream activities of Ministry of Water and Environment. I pray that the Honorable Minister listens carefully to this as he's engaging in other micro meetings. I repeat, Honorable Minister, we need more affirmative action in protecting our environment and refugees hosting programs. Right Honorable Speaker, I pray when it comes to implementation, the money that our country will get should be allocated fairly, because we have challenges when government gets money. The districts which are hosting fewer refugees normally get more money. Right Honorable Speaker, we pray that this is looked into, and therefore I propose that the districts which are hosting more refugees should be given more money because the level of destruction is too high. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, I also encourage that the Ministry of Water and Environment should liaise with our Ministry for Local Government. We need to have bylaws, Right Honorable Speaker. We are not doing enough as local governments, because if we have these bylaws, members may have change in mindset, and in our activities, especially agricultural activities, maintenance of our homes, we should be planting trees. Right Honorable Speaker, I also propose that the minister should do more work. I trust our Honorable Minister, as stated earlier by our Honorable Member, Honorable Chichilia. You have your record set. I really propose that you remain exemplary to protect our reserves, forest and wildlife reserves, with the Ministry of Tourism. That is the brand we have given to you, and we are watching you carefully. Right Honorable Speaker, under Office of the Prime Minister, in the protection of the woodlots and establishment, there is a big cry from the communities. I pray that this is handled. We discussed this as West Nile in our last review meeting, and we raised this matter, especially in clearance of land and maintenance of woodlot under protection of the forest cover and opening of more forests. Right Honorable Speaker, the laborers are lowly paid. A person works for 10 days and is only given 40,000. Right Honorable Speaker, if you divide 40,000 by 10, it means each day you work for 3 to 4 hours and you are given 4,000. This has not gone well with our people, and it is affecting the project that is ongoing. Therefore, we request that this rate be increased. Right Honorable Speaker, I also request under this project, individuals should be allowed to open woodlots, because what is now ongoing is a woodlot is given to a village, and therefore it limits the participation of individuals who will wish to open their own woodlots and they are incapacitated. Therefore, I request that individuals who are interested should also be brought on board. Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and I support this report 100%. Thank you so much.
Honorable Kaberuka? Kaberuka, then Babadiri, Kibaria, Kamateka, Makmot. New people have come. Is that Onsima? Onsima, about Noelin, Nyendoha, Muktare. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, I stand here to support this loan request, which is actually argumenting the work you have tirelessly started and moved forward to implement yourself and this Parliament. I think, Madam Speaker, the sector has looked into your efforts and really has seen that it is important to support the request and the thinking of this Parliament to improve the forest cover, and also promote tourism. Madam Speaker, I am happy when you say Uganda investing in forests and protected areas for climate smart development. This is very interesting, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, why I've picked interest is that the job creation that is highlighted in this program is immense. And I think, Madam Speaker, what I would say is that in implementation of this program, we need to restructure and include these people, especially women, Madam Speaker, who are around these national parks. We are talking of the roads in national parks. We are talking of improving tourism sites in the national parks, but Madam Speaker, the people around national parks are suffering. I happen to be a representative of Chinchizi West, where I have 2 national parks, Bwindi and Queen Elizabeth. Madam Speaker, I'm happy when I see the fencing, electric fencing of these national parks. But the problem is, there is not highlighting to what extent the fencing is going to go. Is it going to, is this loan going to fence the whole of Chinchizi, for example, which is touching a national park that where the elephants have been eating the people's crops? Madam Speaker, what about these people who are killing lions? They are not killing lions because they wish. They are killing lions because they are suffering, they are poor. You can imagine, Madam Speaker, the person who killed the lion testified that he wanted to sell some fat for 40,000 shillings. Killing a lion for 40,000 shillings. What intervention are we putting in these places such that these people can leave poaching and concentrate on economic activities? I'm happy that you are putting tea projects to prevent vermins. But Madam Speaker, along Queen Elizabeth, you cannot plant tea along those Queen Elizabeth areas. What other crops can we intervene, can we put there, such that these people can participate? Madam Speaker, also, the report shows that the people around the national parks, especially Queen Elizabeth, are the poorest, and they don't go to school. What intervention are we putting? I'm happy that this is a sector loan, where we have water and environment, and we have tourism. Can we also include such interventions where we can have the people around in these national parks access education, because mindset change, Madam Speaker, goes with the conscientization level. Conscientization level goes with the level of education. How do we bring these people on board such that they can live this primitive way of living? Madam Speaker, if those ones could be included and well implemented, if it is not hijacked by the mafias, this one is a good project, is a good loan we have had in this country. I stand to promote and support this loan, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Badiri, then Honorable Kibaria, this side. Kamateka, Mahmoud, then Noeline, Onsima, Abbott, Nyidoha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this loan because it is very, very important. We know how degraded our environment is. But the challenge I've seen now is that this loan has come at a time when we've been borrowing again and again everywhere. It seems we are borrowed from all the banks. And people are really fatigued. You remember when we called another loan. So people are really fed up of borrowing. I don't know when we shall stop borrowing. I think it's too much. Let us try to raise our economy so that we stop borrowing. Otherwise, we shall sell our Uganda. Number 2, environment is a very important issue. And we have been trying to protect. But the very people who are made to protect the environment are the very ones who are exploiting the environment.
I can see in Koboko, people who fell the big trees are the big people. People who carry the timber are the big people. But the women and the other people at home there, they just collect twigs or pieces of tree for making firewood. They are not very destructive. Now I'm wondering, when we get this loan, how shall we protect the loan, this forest? Where shall we get the angels to protect, to let us to respect the trees we are going to plant? So it's a very, very big challenge. I would like to know exactly how are you going to do it? Are you going to provide trees, tree plants? Are you going to organize maybe people to protect the trees? I think I need more clarification. We need a lot of sensitization to see that we respect the trees we planted. I've tried to encourage my people to plant trees. But when you plant the trees, by the dry season, all of them dry up. You begin afresh the following season. So our problem is water. So we need to be supported also to irrigate our plants when we plant them. Because during dry season, we don't get anything at all. We have a big, big challenge. And also we need to sensitize the people to keep the animals, because they roam around and spoil all the trees. So I not know exactly how are we going to protect the trees. Now coming to the refugee hosting areas, today I'm very happy that at last Koboko came out. Very often, when you talk of refugee hosting areas, Koboko is left out. People used to sympathize with us refugee keeping people. You will find that they destroy everything. There are too many. The population is too high in a small place. They have left a lot of bare places there, which need to be forested. Madam Speaker, you find that when you have your children and you have little food to share, I think you can say, you can hold on for a while, let us have for this area, then when I get more, I shall give for you later. I would like to urge those who are quarreling that this thing should be distributed evenly. This money is little. If we say let it go everywhere in Uganda, what impact will it create to the environment? So let us support this loan for Westland, for the areas indicated, and yours, when the time comes, we shall also support. We should not say now, let us spread everywhere, or we should stop the loan. We need this loan, and we need to improve our environment. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kibaria. After Kibaria, we have Honorable Kamateka, Makmot, Noeline, Ozima, Abbott, Nyedoha. Then I come to Mkitale and take the school.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I also join the colleagues in thanking the chair and supporting the loan, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I need to take it up from where Honorable Babadiri ended, where some colleagues are saying the loan should cover the whole country before it's supported. Right Honorable Speaker, if we develop a spirit that a loan can only cover the whole country before we support it, then we shall not pass any loan here. Right Honorable Speaker, here we supported a loan for REA to cover all the sub-counties in the country. I need to know one MP here to stand and say at least the power came to my sub-country. The moment the loan is amorphous, Right Honorable Speaker, then we don't achieve what we want. But in economics, something must be specific and measurable. So me, I don't come from the area where these trees are going to be planted. But I must only support it so that the next time when a loan in the same line comes, it must also have Busoga there. Right Honorable Speaker, everybody here knows that the effect of the sugarcane industry here removed the whole forest cover from Busoga. The issues of climate change and effect in Busoga is high. But if I also stand here and say unless Busoga is included, then something that will come when it's only touching Busoga, the rest who come from Western Nile will also not support, because they will say this is only handling Busoga. Every area, Right Honorable Speaker, has its issues, has its problems. But in this area, this loan according to the objectives, because these districts that are here are 30, right, Honorable Speaker. When 30 districts are covered, at least that is a mile moved somewhere. I'm waiting for an area when Busoga will be covered, when Eastern will be covered. But in the area, they told us that the project objectives here, right, Honorable Speaker, is to improve people's income, is to improve the management of protected areas. If I have somebody the other side, right, Honorable Speaker, if some of these people from these districts are also covered and happy, they will be in a position to add value to what we are doing in this country. The refugees that we are really suffering with, if they are protected and something is done for them, something will be clear. If the forest cover in Budongo, in Ajumani, where is handled, then we shall be happy that next time the forest cover that
we with the Minister of Water and Environment, that GOU will provide funding to cover those other areas using our normal budgeting process. So that's the information that I wanted to give you, Honorable Minister.
Those areas. So, right, Honorable Speaker, this loan handles the SDG, that is really where Uganda is supposed to address heavily. This loan has the people's income. So, right, Honorable Speaker, I urge the colleagues to support this loan, not to say the loan is not in Koboko, the loan is not in Mbale, the loan is not in Busoga or Kayunga. No. Kayunga's time will come and Mbale's time will come, and we shall be here to support. And I request you also to support when the Busoga issue comes here to plant trees that side. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
No Kamateka for the band of Makmot.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Prime Minister is asking me to tell people that Rome was not built in one day. So their time will also come and Rome will be built.
I don't know who made my colleague spokesperson of the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable members, I want to thank the Honorable Saida for submitting for the loan. But Right Honorable Speaker, in a situation where we are choking under the burden of loans, I think this loan is unnecessary. And I want to thank Honorable Babadiri for her submission. Right, Honorable Speaker, we have sat back as a government and let the environment be destroyed and let our forest cover be depleted. With the rainy seasons that we have, with the climate that we are endowed with, this loan is not necessary. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker. All we need is the right policies with the right punitive measures and the right enforcement, serious enforcement of those policies, and the environment will restore itself. We need to chase away developers from our wetlands, Right Honorable Speaker. We are suffering unprecedented floods because of water channels being blocked by illegal and unplanned constructions. We need to chase away these people, and in a matter of months, our wetlands will restore themselves. We need to be serious, Right Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, even this loan, if we got it, will be wasted. We have seen unplanned distribution of tree seedlings to people who do not even have land, to people who are not ready to receive them, and the seedlings just dry up.